A lot of you know that I started my business at the age of 40. It didn't just happen in one day, it was a journey. During my 14-year career in the oil company, I learned a lot. My very first boss gave me the gift of excellence, I would say. I remember his famous words would be, whenever I calculated figures, and then we used to use the desk calculators, and I'll take it to him and say, this is the result. He would say, can you swear on your life on these figures? And I'll go back and recalculate again. So I learned to check and cross-check myself several times on anything that I do. I also learned the gift of analysis. And then, of course, with the advent of the computers, I learned Excel. And my friends tease me that I breathe Excel. I live and breathe Excel. And that's because it's a very useful analytical tool. Secondly, I don't know whether you have seen one of the series that I talked about my assertiveness, how I learned how to be assertive in the workplace. So I had learned how to be assertive, and then along the line, some opportunities came along. I realized that in the oil industry, when the oil prices drop, companies will start to downsize. And I had witnessed a couple, and I started thinking to myself, what are you going to do if this happens to you, if you happen to be a casualty of one of these? So I started thinking about it. And then the idea came when my son was accepted in secondary school, and I had to do his shopping, and I found that there was no specialty shop. So that was a business idea that came to my mind. Believe me, I wasn't entrepreneurial at all. I never even thought I could do it. But I put pen to paper and I wrote my ideas down. I had a pilot's show first and a 2-day exhibition to test the business idea, and was successful. And then I launched out at 40 because I thought, okay, even if I stay in this job till I'm 55, a lot of you know that I'm very active. I don't sit down, I'm restless, I'm very busy. I like to be busy. And I just thought, 55, what will I do? And it would be too late to start a business at that time. So I made up my mind, and I know that it took a lot of courage. Looking back, I wonder how I did it. I think, I prayed about it and I received the answer that I should just go ahead and do it. Yes, everyone thought I was crazy to leave a well-paying job for uncertainty, but I did it. And here we are today. We started with one retail store in Onikon, and 2 years later, we opened the second branch in Ikeja. Opening that second branch in Ikeja is another lesson I learned. A lot of people were coming from Ikeja and they were telling, why don't you come to the mainland? And a friend of mine had done the research and saw that there were a lot of schools in Ikeja, GRA, and it was a good place to open. And then there was an opportunity came up. There was a shopping complex, and we opened there, and we still have that shop till today. So it was about balancing, and it was about listening to people who had also done research on your behalf. Later on, schools decided to come to us and ask if we could supply wholesale. That was another opportunity that I wasn't fully prepared for. But I took it on because I just thought, you're already selling uniform at retail. Why can't you sell it on a wholesale level? And now, suffice to say, those two businesses have grown. The wholesale that I started maybe 5 years after we launched as a retail store, that wholesale department now services at least 500 schools across Nigeria. And the retail store that we expanded to 2 outlets in Lagos only, after 2 years, we now have 7. We have 4 in Lagos, we have 1 in Port Harcourt, and we have 2 in Abuja. And this is 23 plus years later, will be 24 later on this year. In addition to that, our staff strength has grown from 2 to 268. And we've added a garment manufacturing facility. We have expanded to 5 divisions. We have the retail, we have the wholesale, we have the distributorship section, division, and we have the humanitarian aid supplies division. Lastly, we just this last year, we added the corporate services section. It's interesting because in addition to maybe working on myself, personal development, at a point, I needed to learn, and I knew I needed to learn the cycles of my business. I also needed to know what could take us further. And at a point, I knew that the decision making could not be mine alone. I needed to get younger people on board, which I did, about 12 years down the line. And that is the best decision I ever made. So now we have a great management team, dynamic one, and they are steering the company in the right direction. I just want to reassure anyone who is thinking of starting their business at 40, 45, even 50, that it's never too late. Yorubas have a saying that it's when you wake up that is your dawn. So it is when you realize and you have identified the business, that is the dawn of that business. It's always better to start small, grow it organically. Most importantly, get feedback from other people around you, people you know that will tell you the truth. Secondly, look for some younger mentees. I say that purposely because younger people tend to be more dynamic, especially if you are conservative like someone like me. Ask the opinion of younger people and they'll tell you what people want to see. But I'll say nothing ventured, nothing gained. Please start, however small. We are actually multi-talented. The fact that we have streamlined our talents into one channel does not mean that we cannot express ourselves in other channels. That's what I would say to you. So express yourself. The world is at your feet at whatever age.